Yes, boys, welcome back. Backdrop and scenery is a bit different. If you guys are unaware, I'm currently in Cornwall at the moment. I'm here with family, and it explains why my schedule's been a bit conflicted, why uploads have been taking a bit longer, because I'm out here in the sticks and there's no consistent wireless connection. So it's a shame, but you guys know, irrespective of anything working against me, I'm going to give you guys the latest updates and reports. And today, we're learning from France that we have made negotiations with Paris Saint-Germain for Kolo Muani. So there's a lot to unpack today. I hope you guys rate the dedication, hit that like button, and let's get straight into things. The first story we discussed, the updates on Jamie Gittens, because are we starting to get some competition now from Bayern Munich, a club that have also expressed a long-term desire for the player. Now, reports from Builder suggest that Bayern have been in contact with Gittens' agent, who is Marco Lichtensteiner. Let's see what happens with this one. At the moment, they've also made maybe contact inquiries for Bradley Barcola. And they've also looked at Nico Williams, who they've offered 10 mil net plus 2 mil in add-ons. But I get the impression that Nico Williams will hold that deal out as long as possible so he can join up with his boys at La Masia at Barcelona. Bradley Barcola and Bayern, well, that probably won't happen, as Paris Saint-Germain have rebuffed Bayern's attempts for the player. They might have the money for that, but I don't get the impression Paris Saint-Germain are looking to sell right now. So when you're going down this list, goodbye to maybe Leao, goodbye to Williams, goodbye to Barcola. Is it crazy to think that Jamie Gittens now could be a big priority for them? Now, we have to keep it real and we have to keep it humble. Bayern, over the years, they have beaten us to some key signings. Like, it first happened when they beat us to sign Tolisso from Lyon all those years back when Antonio Conte was our manager. It happened last summer where they came in, sneakily matched the terms and offers that Crystal Palace wanted for Elise and got that deal over the line. But we were, in similar fashion, wasting time and stalling the deal. We've had plenty of opportunities, considering that we've been talking to Dortmund since January, where we tried to make our first attempts to sign Gittens 6 months ago. And then the final offer we produced is €5 million short of the original 60 M's that Dortmund have consistently said that they want. That's annoyed them. That's frustrated them. Would it surprise me that Bayern, who don't actually cry about few mil valuation differences due to their desperation and time and needs down that left flank, might just pay up the money? I think the only stumbling block Bayern would have won't be financially, it would be persuading the player to sign for them. I get the impression that Gittens wants to actually return back to England, most notably London. Of course, a lot of familiar faces he knows in our squad already, the manager, etc., etc. So there's more than just football reasons for Jamie Gittens to come and sign for Chelsea. But Bayern Munich are one of the most premium football establishments in Europe. Players' games go to the next level, and you can imagine Gittens, Musiala, Odyssey being one of the most fearsome attacks for the next 5 years. So we have to respect what's going on. And if anything, if Bayern are starting to sniff now, there's more onus on us now to get this deal wrapped up, get it secured. If you have to fork out and pay this, valuation difference, see it as a penalty fee for wasting time. Because in this game, when you stall deals that you're in control of, you pay the price eventually, because competition will come in and scoop you off your feet. So that is the latest on Jamie Gittens. Share your thoughts and opinions on that story, my friends. But now we move on to discussing one of the big reports today involving Kolo Muani. Courtesy of L'Equipe, they revealed that we have been entering negotiations with Paris Saint-Germain over the availability of the striker. We have no idea whether this is going to be on loan or as part of a permanent deal. Now, we know that Paris Saint-Germain gave Juventus a loan extension so Muani can take part in the Club World Cup. He scored 2 goals in Juventus' 5-0 win against Al Ain. And it does seem like Juventus are also trying to maybe potentially keep him. But it's interesting because, as we know, Juventus held exploratory talks with us to sign Nicolas Jackson. And from what I'm hearing, the valuation for Nico Jackson is around 50 million, but for Serie A clubs, could be a little bit less, could be around 45 million. So it's quite surprising the timing of both stories coming out. Does that confirm that Juventus are expecting Muani to be leaving them? Potentially. There's a big possibility around something like that. And I think this is where I want to kind of just like get into sharing my thoughts and opinions. Now, from an objective point of view, I think Muani is a good striker. I was calling for this guy in January. I said at the time in Jan, when it felt like we desperately needed a striker to just kind of cushion securing CL football, Muani or Mateta were the guys. You know, Muani on loan was like a no-brainer in my opinion. His wages is like under 100,000. Something could have happened here, but we decided against that. Instead, we wasted time making efforts for Mark Guy. Now we're not going for him anymore. We tried to sign your Garnachos and Gittens back then. We wasted a lot of time on a lot of fluff, actually. And there was a moment there for us to maybe just secure Muani on loan for fun, tested him out, and seen what he does over 6 months. But after seeing maybe efforts now for Sechko and Ekitike and Osimhen's, players that we've been linked to for the last like 18 months consistently, and even longer, I mean, as an example, so Ekitike, we made our first offer for him in January and got rebuffed straight away. After securing sale, you just expect there to be maybe more ambition in terms of what we're doing, because now we got the money and the flexibility now to secure these targets, right? And instead, that reality has not materialized. Now, listen, I can be a bit emotional sometimes, I get it. But I'm just thinking, if you're promised the world, right? And then these are the targets you're left with, you know, I'm a bit disappointed. And I sound mad because I do rate Muani. That's not the point I'm making. The point is, when you've been sold these top guys for so long, all the reports, all the links, they weren't made up. They weren't there for no reason. Is it communicating now that we're going down our shortlist and we're looking at the B-tier options? Now, Muani would be at the top of the B-tier options, and even saying B-tier, it sounds completely disrespectful. There's an argument that he's even better than what we have up front right now. Let's keep it honest. And from a football point of view, if I have to accept the fact that we aren't going to sign those big boys that we had expectations for, I think Muani would suit what we're doing right now. You know, a striker that can score and create. One of the fastest strikers actually in Europe, coming at 26 with some good experience behind his belt, playing in 3 different, competitions, a French international scoring against Spain and France's 5-4 defeat to them. He's got a lot of pedigree that he's built up. And he's a striker that has really clever, intelligent movements, curving his runs, versatility in the movements he's making as well. He's really improved his heading ability. He's really strong at carrying the ball, especially in those wide channels and in the middle. He would complement what we're doing for sure. And I don't know, if you think that Nico Jackson needs to bounce and you're accepting the fact that all the strikers you want are out your price range, Muani isn't a terrible buy for us in terms of what we're looking to do. And he could actually still be good for us. I think what I'm communicating, and I'm going to say it again, is just that when there was all these expectations to get the more exciting class, whatever, and then you're not getting them at the moment, that's what it seems like, yeah, it's a little bit disappointing because it feels like we could have maybe made this move even if we never got CL football, right? But let's see what happens with this story. I've always thought he is better than he was given credit for. Even in January, when a lot of people felt like this was like a dead move. Come on, man. You know what football fans can be like? Because he wasn't doing it at Paris Saint-Germain, you're always judged off your last game or your last piece of form, right? I understand that. He would definitely complement and suit what we're doing, but I just can't escape the fact that, I thought the ambitions were going to be a bit more exciting. For me, my main 2 ones are always Sechko and Ekitike, but if Muani is like the oatmeal type of player, I have to accept it's not bad. It's not terrible, but at the same time, not that exciting. So my friends, you share your thoughts and opinions on this story now, because I'm moving on to the next story. And we have some interesting reports developing around a right back that was actually doing bits against us recently. And his name is Wesley from Flamengo. Now, reports are coming out suggesting that after his great performance against us, we actually made inquiries to try and figure out if this guy's available. Now, the answer is yes, but we aren't the first club to show interest. Now, Arsenal, Juventus, big European clubs are looking at the 21-year-old recent Brazil international because he is a player that can do it both. He's a marauding offensive fullback, but he also can invert. And against us, he was regularly playing these line-breaking passes, just playing through our midfield and finding Flamenco's attacking players. He did make a mistake for Noah's goal, but he had the mental resilience and confidence in his game to just keep on pushing forward, getting forward. And this really complements Filipe Luis's, wide combination, dynamic attacking style, which is kind of the antithesis of Maresca preferring more inverted style options who can kind of control spaces and give us like more protection against the counter-attack. Interesting news. For this price tag, I can't imagine this is Strasbourg. Yes, there have been links that Doué, the Strasbourg right back, has been garnering interest from Milan's and other European clubs. Fair enough. Does this also bring up possible conversations around Malo Gusto's future? Now, in a video I released like a month ago, I was like, listen, in my squad review, I would probably sell Gusto, not because I don't rate him, because if he's going to be under Maresca, I don't see how he's going to shine as much, not playing his natural way. I can't believe I'm saying it because I thought he was incredible under Pochettino. At the moment, it just feels like it's a bit of confidence. And listen, I learned my lesson, man. When we wrote off Cucurella, a lot of us are eating humble pie right now. And I'm supposed to just give up on Gusto, even though he was incredible his first season, which was the hardest one. And now he's struggling because the expectations in terms of his game are different. I mean, sorry, I'm not going to fall into that trap or fall into that way of thinking. The guy is going to be a top-class fullback. And I don't care that maybe he was a bit weak in our recent game. Come on, it was a complete different tactical setup that we saw. I feel like the fan base is just getting a bit too much after that game. There are some historic conversation points to be had tactically for sure, 100%. But that was not the game to throw everything out the pram and decide, you know what, I've seen enough. We got to relax with that. But again, if you're asking about a right back, does that possibly communicate you might be open to offers of Malo Gusto if the right offers come in? I said before, Bayern Munich made inquiries. Could I see Gusto maybe ignoring the Bayern pool if they offered us good money? If that came with playing alongside Odyssey, you're securing that French national team spot for the next 5 years easily. If you're playing with your international teammate week in, week out, they would be superb together. Incredible together. And I can see the vision there. This is the only logical explanation I have for these Wesley reports, because it would have to involve Gusto leaving to make this a possibility. He does seem good, energetic, very good on the ball as well, and very tenacious and aggressive. I don't know, man. How are you feeling about the story? Share your thoughts and opinions on that. And to end things, I've got another story to discuss. It's a bit of a weird one, but I'm just going to get straight into it now. And at the moment, it seems like there is a possibility that we might not be targeting any goalkeepers this summer. But that also seems to be like a little bit contradictory. Now, reporters like Sky Sports, Caver and Romano, Romano actually backtracked, Romano originally was like, we haven't given up on Maignan, and then he kind of switched things up quite quickly. Obviously, Caver from Sky was like, we've closed the chapter on Maignan. Of course, we walked away. The money is not making sense. And we're happy with the keepers we have in Sanchez, Jorgensen, Petrovic, and Penders. But this is where it's a bit contradictory, because I can tell you guys, I heard that after that Flamengo defeat, Maresca went straight to the board and was like, listen, I need a goalkeeper. I hope you guys remember all the stories we've covered together, not just from my own account, but also from reports we've read, that really stress how important it was for Maresca to get a goalkeeper he likes. We can't forget the reports how he didn't rate a lot of the keepers he has here already. That explained why Petrovic didn't feel confident to go to the Club World Cup, because he felt like, well, what's the point? I'm not wanted anymore. those reports weren't all for nothing. And as I said, I heard that Maresca has called for that goalkeeper. We've learned from previous reports, goalkeeper was also a priority, not just an opportunity. So even though reports are suggesting Maignan chapter is over, I'm hearing that it's maybe not 100% over. It's not 100% over. I'm not saying expect him to come, but it's not as dead as reports are suggesting, because I just think it's common sense, man. For the next season going on, you need that top-class keeper who can play out from the back. I think tactically that will open up a lot of things Maresca wants to have. And the club are not going to, now that Maresca stayed there for another year, they're not going to undermine Maresca this quickly by not securing him. Now, other things I heard. Okay, talks for Diogo Costa are going nowhere right now. The funds and money, it's not worth it. These were just exploratory talks, just to try and find out and see where heads were at. Yes, we have looked at James Trafford. There are a few other keepers as well. What's his name? Chevalier, I think his name is, if I'm pronouncing it right. A few others. But in my opinion, and I'm going to just keep on saying this, when you've got Mike Penders, a guy you really believe in, it's going to be like one of the guys between the sticks for this generation, why would he then sign another young keeper to compete? Surely it makes sense for Maignan to just hold down the fort for a little before you're making movements for Penders to take over. So just continue to watch this spot, because I just think logically, if you're not going to secure this because of a few mil valuation difference, I think it's kind of stupid, especially when you know that Sanchez and West Ham is a big possibility. There's just too many things going on that complement us, because Sanchez to West Ham also opens up possibilities for Kudus. Now, Sanchez isn't going to reduce the asking price for Kudus, but it's going to be what Liverpool have done with Wirtz. With Wirtz going to Liverpool and Kanza going the other way. That is the plan for Kudus and Sanchez. And the only positive thing I can end things on is that positivity is really growing now around Mohamed Kudus, as in there's a big possibility he could be one of the marquee guys we sign in this window. So if that's going to be the case, we have to get some of the ball rolling a little bit now, and we have to get real with the goalkeeper situation. I think to waste time over a small value difference is silly, but maybe we have to wait, because many clubs who have expressed interest in Milan players, they're kind of struggling to agree terms at the moment, with Milan's valuations being a bit too high. And the general consensus from what I've been hearing is that many clubs feel that as time goes on, Milan will be forced to have to sell for fees they don't want to sell for, because they don't have much legs to stand on right now. So that's what I'm going to leave things on. Anyway, my friends, that's everything today. Share your thoughts and opinions. Hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you more with more videos. Love. Cool.